Hey you guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited about today's video because I have grown up looking at groceries in a completely different way than so many of my peers. Friends that I've grocery shopped with in the past don't even look at prices, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Like, that bell pepper is 50% more expensive today than it was last week. So I'm so excited to share with you some of the ways that I save money while grocery shopping. Before we get started though, I want to say a huge thank you to today's sponsor, which is Built Bar. I've been on my Built Bar game. You guys know if you've been watching my channel for the last couple months, I cannot stop, and I'm so grateful for Built Bar for continuing to sponsor me. This flavor right here is the mint brownie. I've been dabbling back and forth between flavors, and honestly, I don't even know that I have a favorite anymore. It's kind of like each day is a different flower to open, and by flower I mean Built Bar. See, I've even mastered how to eat it whilst wearing lipstick. Built Bar has improved their texture and their taste, but they've maintained their nutritional profile. So this bar right here has 17 grams of protein and only 4 grams of sugar. And something that I've noticed because I've been eating these for so long now is these keep me fuller so much longer than any other bar that I've tried. Usually it's like a 20-minute kind of, okay, I'm satiated sort of thing, but this honestly, because it has so much protein, it really keeps me feeling satiated for so much longer. And I enjoy that because it's something I can eat on the go, and oftentimes I will eat this when I've been editing for a really long time. I realize I need to make dinner and I haven't yet. I'll eat one of these really quick. I'll be full enough so that I'm not snacking on foods that I really didn't want anyway, and then I can eat my like well-balanced dinner. So I've really been loving these. I love the variety and flavors. They have 18 flavors, 6 of which are new, so tons to choose from. And if you guys want to try Built Bar, you can go to builtbar.com and use promo code AlyssaAnderson10 to get 10% off your purchase. That's builtbar.com. Use promo code AlyssaAnderson10, get 10% off of your purchase. That is actually going to lead me into my first tip on how to save money on groceries. But before I actually fully dive into it, I just want to put in the disclaimer that these tips might not work for you and your family. I am one person, sometimes two, when my boyfriend's here. I don't have kids, I don't have a huge family, so some of these tips might make sense for me in my life, but they might not work for you, and that's totally fine. I just wanted to share things that I've found in my life that really help me save money with grocery shopping, and if some of these work for you, then amazing, and if they don't, hopefully one of them will be up your alley. Okay, with that being said, first tip to saving money on your grocery bill. Don't go to the grocery store hungry. I know that that is such an overused saying and people have said it for so long and so many times, but sometimes we still have to go to the grocery store hungry, and that's fine as well. But if you can help it, try not to go hungry. And it's not because you're more likely to pick up chips or cookies or whatever, but it is more likely that you're going to buy things that you actually didn't need or want. And specifically, the ready-to-eat sandwich section with the little pastas and stuff like that, those ready-to-eat items are priced astronomically high where I live. So when I'm looking at these sandwiches, usually they're between $5, $6, $7, and the pastas can range even up to $12. But when I look at the ingredients inside of these items, I can make those, I know I can make those for like $2 to $3. And with pasta, oftentimes it's a lot less because you can buy a huge bundle of pasta and then some sauce and just throw a couple of veggies in there and you have a heaping pile of like spaghetti or fettuccine or whatever you enjoy instead of this little tiny basket of pasta. And it's so much cheaper. I've so many times found myself going grocery shopping after the gym. I'm starving, so I pick up a sandwich, which important to fuel your body, of course. But that sandwich is often a couple of slices of deli meat, maybe a little bit of mayo, white bread, slice of cheese. It's just outrageous. That's not worth $6. It's not worth $7. I could make 4 of those for the same price. So trying to go to the grocery store on a full stomach will save you from buying things that weren't on your grocery list that you didn't need, and also save you money from buying ready-to-eat meals. You're paying for the convenience, and convenience is important to a lot of us. Like I said, if you have a big family, you're running to and from, trying to usher kids to their soccer practice and stuff. Absolutely. But in the interest of saving money, this is a huge tip that saves me a ton of money. That brings me to my second tip. I mentioned a grocery list a couple of times in there. I have found that keeping a grocery list is so important for me. If I go into the store and I'm just going up and down the aisles, I'm picking up knickknacks, like weird items that I'm like, oh, this could be good in something, or I could maybe use these lentils sometime. But in reality, I don't have everything at home or in my shopping cart, to make the meal that I'm thinking about in my head. So I'm spending money on these items that might just get lost in my pantry later. So keeping a grocery list and planning my meals on the grocery list saves me a ton of money, because then also I know exactly what's going to be in my fridge, because I don't have these things getting lost, and I know that I'm only buying enough food for the next following week. So on my grocery list is usually usually are the same things: chicken, beef, rice, veggies, yogurt, etc. So I know that every week this is usually how much I eat, or how much my boyfriend and I eat. So I plan accordingly, and then food doesn't go bad in my fridge. I'm not perfect. Okay, we've all had that container of mixed greens and spinach that goes bad in the back of our refrigerator, okay? But I'm just saying, this does help cut down on the waste and also the unnecessary shopping of random items that you're probably not going to use anyway. My third tip is shop at different stores depending on the price per item. This one, again, if you don't have a ton of time and it's really hard for you to squeeze in your grocery shopping already, it's probably not going to be the tip for you. However, what I've started doing is keeping separate lists for separate stores, because I've found some stores have the cheapest cat food and other ones have the cheapest condiments or spreads like almond butter, etc. So I will keep a Walmart grocery list, a Superstore grocery list, which I think we only have in Canada, maybe, and a Save on Foods grocery list, which again might only be a Canadian store. But I can also then plan accordingly. So this week I'm going to Superstore, or Monday I'm going to Superstore. On Friday I'm going to Walmart. I don't really need to go to Save On that often because I only buy my spreads there, and I only need those every couple of weeks. So knowing this, I will also stock up on certain things that I know I'm going to continue eating for a long time, so that I don't have to make trips to one store very often. Cat food, I buy a month in advance. It doesn't go bad that quick. So it's worth it for me to make the drive and save that money. It all adds up. Pennies become dollars, become hundreds, right? So for me, it really is worth it to keep in my mind or on paper where the best deal is per certain item. I learned this from my dad. He knew stores in and out, and it takes a long time to figure out what items you buy are cheaper where. It takes you being really present while you're grocery shopping and noticing prices versus prices at a store you were at earlier. But I promise you, if you get in the habit of looking at the price tag at different stores, you'll internalize it and you'll remember it in your brain that, hey, this is $3 cheaper here. Why am I buying it at this other store when I come to this store sometimes anyway? And again, it all adds up. My fourth tip is kind of similar to when I said don't go to the grocery store hungry, so that you're not buying those prepackaged sandwiches and pastas and such. But this one is more specific to when I remember Costco, okay? So I used to have a Costco membership. I love Costco, nothing wrong with it at all. But I realized that I was spending so much money in their freezer section, and so quickly, I'm sure a lot of people can relate, my Costco bill would go from what I assumed was going to be nothing to $300 in like 10 minutes. And it was just ridiculous. So I started looking at actually what I was purchasing from Costco in the freezer section. And oftentimes it was easy, ready to eat meals like taquitos or quesadillas, little breakfast burritos. And all of these things, though super convenient, are very expensive, depending on who you ask. To me, they're very expensive. And I started recognizing that these items didn't really have a lot of value to them anyway. And I don't mean that as in you should feel guilty for eating these foods. You should never feel guilty for eating food. But I mean, nutritionally, I could make such a superior product for less money, and I had the time to do so, so why not start doing it? And that's what I started doing. I started buying eggs in bulk and veggies in bulk and blocks of cheese, and I would usually spend a Sunday making breakfast wraps, wrapping them in tin foil, and then putting them in the deep freeze. If you have the room in the freezer and you have the time, I even watched Netflix while I was doing it just on my phone, so it felt like I was still getting my downtime, honestly. But if you have the time and you have the space in the freezer, it might be worth it to try and create these items yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, taquitos are basically a tortilla, a little bit of chicken, some cheese, and some kind of sauce. I knew I could make my own, so I started doing it. And honestly, I enjoyed it. And I stayed fuller longer as well because there really wasn't that much food in them. Just a whole lot of tortilla going on, but delicious. I still freaking love taquitos, honestly. There is something magical about taquitos. I think they're called the Monterey ones, but regardless, save yourself some money, see if you can make these foods yourself, and see how you like it. If it doesn't work for you, you can always go back to buying the taquitos and the frozen quesadillas. My fifth tip for saving money when you're grocery shopping is to not be scared of the store brands. This is something that I had a super big aversion to because I think I was just brought up thinking that the store brand or no-name brand or whatever it is was of less quality. It didn't taste as good. And so I would always buy the name brand items like Unico and Heinz and Green Giant, all of these brands that I think are pretty universal. But oftentimes these items from these brands taste very, very similar in a store brand or a no-name brand. And it's oftentimes way less expensive. So I've actually created a shopping list today for you so that I can show you two different grocery lists or two different shopping carts. And this is from a store called Superstore in Canada. Again, I don't know where they have superstores, but I tried to pick items that were virtually the same. Sometimes I had to add more of one item to match the gram weight of the contrast item. So for rice, for example, I had to choose 9 of the Uncle Ben's ready-to-eat rices in order to match the amount of Tilda rice, which is also crazy when you can see per gram how much you're paying for an item. So this was a really realistic shopping list for me, or grocery cart for me. I filled it so that I would have chicken, veggies, and rice, which is a meal I eat often, burrito bowls, again, great dinner or lunch. Toast and eggs. I eat toast for breakfast. My boyfriend eats eggs for breakfast, so makes sense. Almond butter, of course, because I have almond butter on my toast. And then I also added some veggies with ranch for a snack. So when we're comparing these items against each other, it's wild to see the price difference. And when you're thinking of only 30 cents here or 50 cents there, it doesn't feel super substantial. So when you're looking at the aisles, the packaging for the brand names might be so beautiful and they pull you in because you know them and they have lots of commercials and media marketing out there. But in reality, these products are costing you a lot more money. And things like corn and beans and soup, oftentimes they don't taste a whole lot different. Now, this is not always the case. You kind of have to kiss a few no-name brand frogs to find a prince. I've done this with iced tea. Powdered iced tea. Good Host is the only one for me. I think that's what it's called anyway. The blue label situation. No name brand powdered iced tea, it does not taste the same, and I'll admit it. But I've found so many items that truly taste the same. I would never know the difference, and they're like 50 cents less per item. Specifically for this as well with the vegetables, pre-packaged, pre-cut fruits and vegetables are outrageously priced. You are paying for the convenience, and if that's something that you need in your life just to get the veggies on the table, absolutely. But it's important to recognize how much of a price difference there is between buying cauliflower and broccoli that hasn't been pre-cut and buying it in one of those plastic containers where it has the 4, tasty treats with the little ranch dip in the middle. In reality, you're getting far less of the product, far less vegetables for a really escalated price. And this really came to light for me when I was trying to buy a broccoli crown one time at Superstore, and I had picked up 3 of them, and the price came to something like $17, and that's not an exaggeration. I was floored, the cashier was floored. So much so that she asked if I wanted to return them and get a broccoli head that had the stem on it instead, because yes, there is going to be more weight to the one with the stem, and often people don't eat the stem, which you can. I eat the stem. I cut it up, chop it up, eat it just like it's the broccoli floret. Yes, you're getting part of the product that you're probably not going to eat anyway, but the difference was like $10 between the two. And so that really made me look at vegetables, and bell peppers are another one, or capsicum, depending on where you live. They go in and out of season, and they become so expensive sometimes that it's just not realistic for me to be buying them at that time. And it's not that I'm saying, no, I can't eat these vegetables ever. It's just I look around the vegetable aisle, I look at the fruits, and I say, what is a reasonable price this week? And then I pick that one. So when blueberries are in season, I eat blueberries. If red peppers are really expensive right now, I don't buy them right now. I can buy them when they're at a more reasonable price for me. And sometimes that does take discipline, because sometimes you just want to eat the blueberries and you just want to have the fruits that you want. And that's okay if it's in your budget. But sometimes if we're trying to stick to a budget or trying to spend less money, we have to delay that gratification a little bit, and it does get easier as you do it. So altogether, the shopping cart that I made that I would have done back in the day before I knew better, buying the prepackaged or pre-cut vegetables, name brand corn and beans, Tex-Mex shredded cheese for convenience, that whole grocery cart came to $140.17. That food probably would last me all week, and $140 per week is not an outrageous grocery bill in my household. However, when I changed out a couple of items, I chose veggies that I would have to cut myself, cheese that I would have to grate myself, and switched out some of the name brand items for no name or store brand. And because of these minor changes that I made to what I was putting into my shopping cart, same baseline items, I would still be able to make the same meals with these items. I managed to spend only $66.20. That is a savings of $73.97. Essentially, I cut my grocery bill in half by doing this. If you're thinking about this as being my grocery shopping list for the week, I would shop 4 times a month, 12 months a year. That would give me a savings of $3,550.56. That's like a trip for both my boyfriend and I to a tropical destination. Just because I'm now choosing to spend a little bit more time having to cut up my vegetables and such, make my own rice, and eat some store brand food. It's the easiest way that I've found to save money without really having to change my lifestyle at all. I probably have a lot more time than people who have bigger families, than those of you who have children. So by no means am I saying, you have to do this or you should do this. I'm just giving the option. I'm just putting the numbers out there and sharing with you kind of what I've learned throughout my experience in grocery shopping. So I hope that you learned something today or found a tip that you feel like will help you with saving money on your grocery bill, because that was my goal here. I just think we've all got to eat, and it is far too expensive to do so. So if I can help make it a little bit cheaper, then I'm here for it, and I hope that I did. Also, don't forget, if you want to try out my favorite protein bar, you can go to builtbar.com, use promo code AlyssaAnderson10 to get 10% off your purchase. That's builtbar.com, AlyssaAnderson10, get 10% off of your purchase. And other than that, you guys, I will see you in next week's video. I hope that you are happy and you are healthy. Bye, guys.